Well, hey there, sound effects lovers. I wanted to share some workflow optimization techniques for taking source material and editing it quickly to get it prepped into your sound effects library as sausage files, meaning many source files in one big file. That's kind of my preferred way to have things in the sound library. So, let's say we have this source, and I go through and I edit it. Basically what I do is I listen one by one and I categorize as I listen. I split things out and I drag them into new tracks as necessary. So, this one was light, so I found first light variations. Then I ran into a heavy variation. You can tell from the waveform, and I'd click that into a new track and name that one heavy. That way when I find future heavies, I can drag the heavies into the heavy. More lights, and then something unique popped up, so I made a new one. These were sort of like creature dolphin-like rubs. So I just did that all the way through, and as needed, made new tracks. Ended up with 5 tracks, but the problem is, as fast as that was, you end up with this mess of files all over the timeline, including this other one that was for another source material recording session. What I'd like to do is, boy, you're thinking, Aaron, I have to go through, move these along the timeline, split them out. Is this really faster? Well, this is Reaper custom actions to reposition items along the timeline based on the end of the files every 2 seconds. And you can see, boom, everything in the selected tracks is now in order, separated equally along the timeline, and ready to be grouped. But that's not all. You can also use this custom action I made to group everything appropriately without extra space, and then select all your items, and then render using a preset called SFX Glued, which will selected media items. It will name them based on track, which I've already named appropriately. It will put them in the directory plastic. And when I hit render, it will do it at the correct sample rate because I did the 192 preset with the 24-bit PCM. Basically, using the preset means I'm not going to make a mistake. It's going to bounce it very quickly, and I don't need to look over all 40 settings in this. I know they're correct because it's my glued preset. Render 5 items. What does it do? Well, it renders all 5 items, and it does it in non-real time, fairly fast. And when it's done, lo and behold, in my plastic folder, boom, properly named, ready to go files, all the right length, all with single file edits. So what I need to show you is the action list on how to accomplish that. So I'll find by shortcut. The first one is this SFX prep. This is the one that takes all selected items on a track, moves them all to the beginning, and then repositions them equally. And that's items, select all items, script X-ray M, move items to start preserving groups, timing relative positions, and Xenekios SWS reposition selected items. If you don't have those, you need to install the SWS and X-ray M script additions. If you have Reaper, you probably already know about it. If you don't, look that stuff up. The other one I do after that's done is group them. And I use this next track timeline selection, which is track, go to next track, item, select all items in track, custom, set time selection to selected items, item, glue items. And that will go track by track every time I hit the button and glue them to the appropriate file length based on the items you have selected. After that, I do a render, and I just have, a shortcut for render. It's just render project to disk. You could just go up here and do that, but again, I'm lazy. So the other very key part is using a preset. So if you know you want to make presets for everything you do on the regular, that way you never make this big mistake where everything's mono or at the wrong sample rate or in the wrong directory or not named right. So I made one for glued. This is if I do this glued workflow. What it will do is it will take the directory already preset, and you could leave that at your root directory and then fill it in. I use file name track, which is a wildcard that uses the track name to name the items that I bounce, which is awesome. And I select the items, and this will work. Then it has it at 192, which is what the session was at, which is what the samples were at, so I know it's exporting correctly. And that's it. Then you hit render 5 files, and it will go to the correct directory. So that is how you do super quick edits. Take source files, pull them down, make edits, expand them appropriately into sausage files, glue them together, position them along the timeline, and export named appropriately as fast as possible. Hope that's very helpful for you.